Hey, RYC guys, it's so good to be with you today. Just wanted to say, really enjoyed playing Cahoots with you guys on Zoom on Wednesday with some of you, and been just really enjoying kind of tracking a bit of what you guys have been up to. It sounds like you're doing really well. So I hope you guys are doing well. Hope it's been a good weekend for you. And today I want to talk to you about a guy in the Bible called Paul. Now you might remember Paul as a guy who had a radical transformation when this bright light shone around him and he met Jesus and turned from someone who was trying to arrest and put to death Christians into one of the most successful early missionaries of the Bible. You may also know about Paul that he wrote a big chunk of the New Testament. Actually, maybe I could give out a prize to the first person who could message me and tell me how many books in the Bible Paul wrote. I'll give you some chocolate. But what you might not know about Paul is that he wrote a lot of these books while he was in lockdown. See, Paul went through some real struggles in his Christian life. He went to prison numerous times because people didn't like the way that he would preach and heal people. And you can read about some of Paul's struggles in 2 Corinthians chapter 11. He was shipwrecked 3 times, he was beaten with rods, pelted with stones, constantly having to move around from place to place. And also in chapter 12, we hear about some of his personal struggles. I think Paul is this amazing character that we can look to as we think about how we could cope when our lives aren't going very well, when we're disappointed, frustrated, anxious, or just trying to live in a tough time. And so today I want to tell you 3 ways that I think Paul lived when life wasn't so good. The first thing that I see when I look at Paul is that he focuses on what he can do, not what he can't do. I love Paul's attitude that when I am weak, God can be strong. But he also expresses it in Philippians chapter 1, verse 12, where he says, I want you to know that what happened to me actually served to advance the gospel. See, Paul can see that because he was put in jail, some people have come to know Jesus who might not have otherwise. And when I look at it, I can see that potentially some of the letters that we have that he wrote in jail, we might not have if he didn't need to send them to his friends. I was thinking about it, if he wasn't chased out of city to city, then the gospel message might not have spread as far or as fast as it did. See, Paul knows that wherever he finds himself, he can find a way to make the most of it. And maybe you feel like that about lockdown. Maybe you've been focusing on the things that you can't do. Paul would encourage you to think about the things that you can do, to be a positive influence in your family, to encourage a friend, to write a letter maybe, to spend time with God, whatever it is, to make the best of the situation that you find yourself in. Secondly, Paul knows what his ultimate purpose is. And I think that's really clear as we read about Paul. See, Paul can always find something useful to do because he knows what is important. He knows that life is about focusing on God, about following God and sharing his love and truth with the world. And so that's what he does. He also knows that even if the worst thing would happen to him and he would to die, then he would be with God, and that would actually be pretty awesome. And so Paul talks about this in Philippians 1 verse 21. I reckon this is like his life meaning mission statement. He says to live as Christ and to die as gain. And if we can live with purpose, then I think we can have a clear direction on how to live even when life is hard. Lastly, no matter what went wrong in Paul's life, he worships. And in Philippians 4 verse 4, he says, rejoice in the Lord always. I'll say it again, rejoice. See, Paul keeps his struggles in perspective by thinking about how amazing God is. And by living a joyful, rejoicing, thankful life, we can ultimately have more joy because we're remembering everything that we have to be joyful about. To help with this, some people like to write a few things down that they're grateful for in a journal each day. Or maybe you like to remember these things in prayers at dinner time or in the evening. But in order to live well when life isn't going so well, we need to rejoice, remembering not just our circumstances, but all God has done for us. I hope you guys enjoy reading about Paul this week and seeing the awesome advice that he has for us right now in lockdown, but also in any other situations that might come against us. I can't wait to see you guys again soon. We're going to be sending out an email soon about our plans for RYC Intermediates at level 2. And I'm really excited that we might be able to hang out together on Thursday evenings. So watch your emails for details of that. And we're going to have Zoom games again this Wednesday. So guys, have a great week. Remember to think about what you can do, not what you can't do. Remember to be thankful and rejoicing, and follow Paul's advice here, because he's got so much that he can teach us for how to live life well when life maybe isn't going quite how we would want it to around us. See you guys soon.